Howdy, Earth Repairians. It's Andrew and
Woody.
And we are Earth Repairians, and you probably don't recognize me because I'm behind the camera most of the time if you watch the Earth Repairian YouTube channel. But we're here today in Southern California, and we're actually driving from San Diego, where we stayed last night, and where we were today, and we're headed to Redondo Beach, where we're staying tonight. And Woody, why don't you tell them, our audience, what we're doing here?
I make my living as a still photographer, and we're on a photo shoot for a client named Black Bear Energy. They build and maintain and manage solar rooftop arrays for the real estate industry. And we photographed today 7 properties from a helicopter in San Diego, northern San Diego, for Black Bear Energy, for their portfolio, to be able to advertise what they're doing on their website. The solar panels are coming way down in price, and it's making it a lot easier and accessible for businesses to install these on their roofs, and they're not only paying for themselves, but they're becoming profitable for commercial real estate investors to turn their roofs into solar power plants.
And I'm sure our audience can see that we're actually in a car driving down the highway. Why don't you show them what this car can do?
Oh, right. So
pay attention.
So I can kind of let go, auto drive, and pay attention to Andrew. I can look left, I can look right. I have to put my hands back on the steering wheel, but it's pretty much driving for me. So I don't have to pay attention quite as much. It's very good in traffic, and it's been quite a really nice assist on the trip out here. So 1,300 miles we drove.
That's right.
We charged how many times? Nine charges?
About 9 charges.
Which is probably about 3 or 4 more charging stops than getting gas would have been, maybe. But it wasn't bad. I actually was thinking yesterday, I found myself less fatigued than I normally get when I'm trying to go 500 miles or 400 miles at a time. My legs weren't hurt. I was less saddle sore, if that makes sense. I don't know if you felt that, but because I was getting out more often and walking around and walking in to use the bathroom while we were charging, it took about average like 20 to 25 minutes per charge. We were pulling over at the superchargers, so not really that big of a deal. It really didn't, I don't feel like it really slowed us down, maybe a little bit, but it was a pleasant trip.
I actually found it to be quite convenient. And why don't you tell everybody why we decided to drive from New Braunfels, Texas, where we live, to Southern California, and eventually to San Francisco, California.
Well, we're in COVID times, so we weren't really looking forward to going to the airport and getting stuffed into an airplane with like sardines, with everybody with masks on, and it just didn't seem appealing to go to the security lines and all that. And then I'm always very well aware that one of my largest carbon footprints in my life traveling is flying in a jet plane. So if I can reduce that, then it seems like that would be a huge step forward. Not just the carbon footprint, but the pollution, the particulate matter that you smell when you're in an airport, in an airplane, on the tarmac. You're getting rid of those carcinogens out of the air, and I really believe that you put your money where your mouth is. You invest in vote with your dollars, and this to me is a way to vote with our dollars.
I actually enjoyed the drive. I love the west part of the United States, and nothing better to do it with than a good friend of yours. If you've never done it, never been to America, for any of our international viewers, the western part is definitely my favorite part.
Mine too.
Not often you get to make that trip from Texas to California, but it's nice. You get to see New Mexico, you get to see Arizona, and it's a very different look and feel than any other part of the country, and a lot of parts of the world, really.
Yeah, the landscape is kind of like moonscape-ish.
Deserty.
What you would imagine the moon or Mars being like, with big boulders and really pretty colors of the desert Southwest. I swam in the Colorado River, like there's still water, and lots of growing area. There's a big growing region in the American Southwest. Not a whole lot of sustainable or regenerative projects. That's what we'd be interested in looking at, and we do know there are Earth heroes out there doing projects like that in the American Southwest. So if there's anybody watching, let us know, and we'd love to come out and tell your story.
Absolutely.
Anybody focusing on regenerative agriculture, permaculture, anything where you're having aha moments and you see that there's a better way, let us know. The comments below, or friend of a friend, please. We'll do our very best to come out and see you guys and tell anybody's great stories. So
we do know that the Earth ships are happening near Taos, New Mexico, but that's not necessarily. I guess it is the Southwest, but it's not as south as we were driving.
Right.
On Interstate 10.
Mike Reynolds, the Earth ships. I've been doing a still photography kind of study of that project for years, and that's an amazing, sustainable, kind of regenerative reuse project design.
Yeah.
Yeah, great projects.
If anyone is in the area in Taos, New Mexico, it's an amazing place called the Earth Ships, which are actually homes that are built out of recycled materials using things like old tires and cans and bottles and what's called rammed earth, which is dirt hit with a sledgehammer inside of some old tires, and most of the home is built underground, right, Woody? And that allows for the earth to both keep the temperature cool and warm during different parts of the year.
Right, that's resulting from the thermal mass. If you have enough thermal mass in your walls or in your ceilings, your roof, you're going to get the heat and residual energy to stay inside. The heating from the day will stay inside the walls, and then slowly leach out at night, and they will wake up in the mornings and 0 degrees outside, and the Earth ship inside will still be 70 in the center of the Earth ships, which is fantastic.
Right.
And they have passive solar walls where they grow. They have the most impressive thing I think about the Earth ships and what Mike Reynolds has done is their black water system. So there's no waste with their water. They capture most of their water through rainwater cisterns, and then they run all that water through their house, turn it into gray water, and then put that gray water in their toilets, and then put that into a bioremediation system combined with the passive solar, which is kind of a greenhouse system. The system's designed, the better design, using active systems to bioremediate and close the loop, like was what we're always looking for in permaculture, to kind of close that loop. And if there wasn't a zombie apocalypse, would your domicile, your house, and your system set up, would it keep working?
That's right.
That's what we're looking for is building resilient and dynamic systems that create abundance. We fully believe in that in the permaculture world, that there is no such thing as shortage of energy and materials in the world. It's a matter of putting those systems together and working hard and teaching yourself and building your own sustainable and regenerative systems.
So tell us a little bit about what Earth Repairian is, right? I'm sure people are wondering, what is this Earth Repairian thing? It's not even a real word. Who's this guy?
Sure it is. Now it is.
It is now. Who is this guy? And what is an Earth Repairian?
Well, so first of all, I think anybody can be an Earth Repairian. Anybody that's seeking restoring balance to our Earth systems, the Earth systems within which humans thrive, and all animals and biology thrives. Restoring those systems is what we're about, and I think anybody that is trying to repair the Earth in that sense and work with Mother Nature instead of systems that are designed to exhaust resources, exhaust all of the systems and break down. We're building systems that regenerate resources, or that at the very least are sustainable, if not regenerative. And so anybody's an Earth Repairian that is working towards those goals. Kirby Fry came up, he's my mentor and teacher, and permaculture teacher. He's a brilliant man and a master carpenter, and he came up with the idea of Earth Repair Corps, and I was the executive creative director for Earth Repair Corps for several years, and we teach permaculture classes. We had a real good run at it, and I decided to peel off and do this Earth Repairian thing with my partner Andrew, because we're filmmakers. We want to share the good news. We want to shout it from the mountaintops. We knew that we had the skill sets and the capabilities to do that. And I had started meeting all of these people in the regenerative fields through my work and through permaculture. And I knew that you and I could put together, one heck of a show and kind of more of a documentary format, and to teach people, to empower people how to do everything from building a found wood raised bed to an earth ship, or to growing your own food, or to learn how to cook foods that are non-traditional foods that you maybe you're not look for in the grocery store, but they're seasonal, they're really good for you, and they're growing really well this year. So to be able to teach other humans, friends of ours, other Earth Repairians that are seeking healing and knowledge and just seeking a better way to kind of go on this journey together and learn together. And we were Kirby and I were building our solar array, which you guys can find. The links we'll leave at the end of the video and the links below. And at the end of one of the days, we were building the array, and we were sitting around having a beer or two, and I was like, everybody was leaving the job site, and I said, "Earth Repairians unite!" And Kirby liked it, and we just kind of caught on. And so that's how we came up with the terminology and the word. And you and I kind of worked on it a little while, and then it fizzled out. But then COVID happened, and we were kind of locked up together, and we just started working on it. I had a fabulous garden already planted. We were able to, I went to Costco, and there was a line around the Costco, and I didn't even park, and I just kept going and went back home and started planting some seeds, because I thought that was a better way to get food than to go stand in line at Costco. So it seems like we're doing something a lot of fun. It seems pretty special. It's only going to be as special as our viewers, and our supporters and people that want to join in the fun and go with us on this journey of learning and expanding our horizons and becoming more and more becoming more conscientious human beings, getting closer to the true love and light that we were made out of, and healing ourselves by healing the earth. I think we could all stand a little bit of that.
That's right. That's right. And if y'all watching and you just happen to stumble across this video somehow, make sure that you go ahead and smash that like button and also that subscribe button, so that you can stay tuned to everything that we're going to do. And this came about because Woody has spent quite a great deal of time developing a permaculture, what I would say a permaculture paradise in his backyard, which is only about a half acre, and it's been inspiring to see. And I only live just down the street, so I'm over there all the time, and it has layers and depth, and all of the work that he's done over the past 10 years has now invited a great deal of wildlife onto the property. A ton of food is being grown. You'll see some of our latest videos that are coming soon, where there's just an incredible harvest that we just had, and also just a great sanctuary that has taken the land, or taken a backyard, back to the way it would be in the wild, which is very inviting to wildlife and different things that belong here on the earth with us. And sometimes when we have neighborhoods, we tend to scare off that wildlife, and we tend to remove the natural habitat that would allow these animals to live freely among us. So it's a really neat thing, and we work in production, and we wanted to do a show. We mostly wanted to educate and entertain people in a way to show them that there's a better way that we can live, and we can, one, take control of what's happening and how we feed ourselves, and also in the water that we drink, because I think maybe we've become removed with the convenience of being able to go to a restaurant or a grocery store
or turn on
the faucet, turn on the shower.
It's like magic.
And
where's it come from?
Everything is just there for you. And just not too long ago, it wasn't like that. And perhaps one day it could be different. So what we want to do is just make sure that people are, one, aware of what could happen, and also to empower them to feel confident that they won't be subject to a food shortage or a catastrophe or something like, for instance, this COVID thing just kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it became a fiasco just to go to the grocery store. People were hoarding toilet paper, people were hoarding different types of foods and things like that. So we just want to be able to, like Woody said, share the good news, share the things we've learned, and kind of help people remember how to grow their own food, because there was a time where our ancestors, not just but a few generations ago, and a lot of people are still doing today and have never stopped. So if you have a backyard, or you have a piece of property, or even you have a windowsill, you know, you need sunlight, you need water, and you need some seeds, and you could grow some food, you know. And it's important to start somewhere, and it's important just to get familiar, because what would happen one day if you didn't have access to food? You know, people would think, I'll just start growing food, but am I right, Woody, if I'd say it's not that easy just to start growing food? There's a lot of practicing and a lot of learning that needs to happen.
That's true. It's a lot of hard work. It's not easy, but it is rewarding. I truly believe, and I've experienced, that when you heal the earth, you heal yourself. And you know, grounding. I go barefoot a lot. So many great things happen that reward me for the work that I've put in, you know, 6 or 8 years ago. And you just have to start. You just have to start on a small corner of your property. You can start a club in your neighborhoods. There's always a blank piece of property. If you have small lawns, or you live in an apartment complex, you can head up a community garden. I mean, there's all kinds of government programs supporting that in America. This victory garden idea. There's so many great opportunities, and you build it and people will come. You simply just have to throw out, you know, permablitz on a Facebook page, and people will just show up with tools, and they're just hungering for the learning and the experiential learning that you get from working with other people that have been doing it for a long time. You can get your permaculture design certification like I did, which was transformative. It was the two of the best, the most I've ever learned in 2 weeks of my whole life. I've never packed that much information into 2 weeks ever, even in college. And so that's a great place to start. And then just building your community. And people are just hungry for this right now. They're hungry for the information, the knowledge, and they just don't know. I mean, we've been taught that we're supposed to mow our lawns, and you know, mowing our lawns, like, we didn't really think that the flattening of our land is a non-intended consequence of mowing our lawns is not a good thing. It causes flooding, it contributes to flooding, it causes less biodiversity. You know, you have these monocultured systems that we know are not good, whether they're factory farm corn for millions, you know, as far as the eye can see, for millions of acres, or whether it's St. Augustine lawns for every yard and every house. It's just a lack of biodiversity, and we know for a fact that the lack of biodiversity is not good for humans.
So when you say things like monocultured lawns, some viewers may not understand what that means. What exactly is a monocultured lawn or a monocultured crop? A
monocultured crop is just, and it's not truly, there's nothing that's truly monocultured, right? Which does that mean mono one? You know, there's never just corn in a field, but the idea that you're trying to plant just corn and then spray Roundup all over it and kill everything else, all the other weeds, except for the stuff that's been genetically modified to be resistant to Roundup, that's a monoculture. That's what you end up getting. You mow a St. Augustine lawn, the St. Augustine crowds everything else out. It's a real shallow root system, so the roots just don't percolate water down into the ground. It doesn't create biodynamics and the microbial expansive kind of energy that you would like in gardens, and the Garden of Eden, I'm sure, was a biodynamic, multifaceted polyculture as opposed to a monoculture, and that's where all the magic happens when you're building that soil and tilth and humus and that fluffiness on top of the soil, that fluffiness. If you've ever been to the redwoods, you can step off of the trail and your foot will sink down 6 inches into the soil, and you're like, what? And it feels like you're stepping into a sponge. Well, every pound of that biomass, that we call it, stores 4 pounds of water. And so that's our biggest water storage, fresh water storage capacity that we have on humans is biomass. It's not lakes. Lake Mead can't store anywhere near the amount of water that the redwoods, the biomass of the redwoods can store. It doesn't even come close. And so building that biomass requires polycultures, requires biodynamics and a multitude of animals. You're trying to create, it's very similar to when you're taking bacteria, when you're eating what's called acidophilus, or the things that we know are good for our guts. It's very similar in the soil. Soil health, good soil health produces great vegetables, which produces great gut health. I mean, this is a closed loop, right? And so we're trying to create those multifaceted polycultured systems, including the microbial life. That microbial life gets into the vegetables, and then those vegetables, you eat them, and then that goes into your stomach. And so the more you do that in your own garden or your own life, or your own yard, the less you have to go buy it at a health food store to replenish yourself, which is the open loop system. Right? We're trying to close those loops so that we're producing all of that stuff on our own properties, and you're even getting those microbes when you're walking barefooted out in your yard when it's raining through your feet. It's not just eating the vegetables. It's not just when you're working in the compost. You've seen me work the compost so many times, and you can feel it when you're digging in that compost, man. You can feel that energy, that electricity that comes from the microbes. I mean, the microbes are literally sharing electricity and speaking through these electric webs, and so that stuff's really good for humans, and it creates a biodynamic system for us to thrive in. It doesn't mean you can't have a beautiful home. It doesn't mean you have to live in an earthship. Our homestead in New Braunfels is not. It's a little funky, but it's a normal house, right? It lives like a normal house. It's efficient. It has a solar power plant on it. We collect 8,000 gallons of rainwater in stainless steel rainwater tanks, and we have an air conditioning system like everybody else, a heating furnace like everybody else. We're trying to figure out even more ways to heat water. We're trying to create redundancy in our system so that we're not just dependent on natural gas, which I would like to really heat my water with the sun if I can. Instead of, it's a passive system as opposed to a mechanical system or a system based on burning an exhaustive fuel. We have to exit here, you guys, to our Texas.
It's gonna go really fast.
Tesla supercharger. So sorry about that.
Woo! Well, we're gonna have to sign off here. We just wanted to put a little podcast out, get the Earth Repairian podcast started. We're out here doing some cool stuff and driving this really cool car, and I'm grateful to be along for this journey because we're having a lot of fun. And we want to catch you guys next time. Make sure you stay tuned to everything that we're doing and follow us on this journey. We want to help you guys learn how to grow your own food. We want to help you to learn how to share this information with others. And we're going to then sign off. And Woody, why don't you tell everybody what it is that you're inspired by at this moment?
I'm inspired by companies like Black Bear Energy. I'm grateful for the opportunity, for these people that are moving forward, people that are investing their money and dollars, investors in the Wall Street world that are investing in these sustainable energy projects. I'm grateful for you as an artist and a filmmaker I'm grateful for our audience, people that are listening, and people are getting so excited about what we're doing. It really pumps us up when you guys get excited and you'll give us feedback. So share, and just know that we're all together. We're all the same. Our hearts are all red. We all come from the same place of love and light, and we're all going to go back to that same place. Let's take care of our earth. It's a gift. It's something I'm grateful for. We have the opportunity to keep clean water running, keep the streams running. We can keep the chemicals out of our systems if we design the systems that way. We can build more efficient systems. The technology, this vehicle is a perfect example of somebody like Elon Musk just saying, no, there's a better way. A iconoclastic human being saying, there's a better way, and I'm going to do it no matter how many times people tell me it's not going to work. And anybody can do that. So get out there. I'm an Earth Repairian. Andrew's an Earth Repairian.
I'm an Earth Repairian.
That's for sure. You too can be an Earth Repairian. We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you next time.